Hello, and welcome to This Week in James City County. I'm your host, Renee Dahlman. Today, we are once again joined by Dianna Moorman. Dianna is the director, I have to make sure I get this right, Director of Elections and General Registrar for James City County, correct?
That is correct. I'm duly titled.
Very good. Well, since we have you on, it must be election time. And I know that there's a lot of different things going on with the elections, whether you can vote in person early, you can vote absentee early, you can vote in person on actual election day, so much. So let's talk about early voting in person right now. What's the option for that?
So we're actually actively voting for in-person early voting.
Okay.
And that is the same across the Commonwealth. We have been voting since September. We have been voting since September 20th, and we go all the way until November 2nd. It is the Saturday before the election that is the deadline at 5 p.m.
Okay, so where does one go if they want to vote early?
Sure, we are finally in our permanent home, and we are right behind the courthouse off of Monticello. The address is 4095 Ironbound Road. And if you go into the roundabout by the courthouse, you go straight, and we're the building that is very well signed and very easy to get in and out of. Right now, check-in time is about 23 seconds once you get to the poll pads for us to print your ballot out for you and for you to make that process. So the entire thing without a line is about 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Very, very easy to do. I have done it myself many times now. So it's a great, great service that we offer. So you'd said if they print out the ballots, are all of the ballots not the same for all of James City County?
So every every precinct has their own ballot style because we have to have that statistic for early voting. Otherwise, we would have 33,000 voters that turned out, but you wouldn't know how each of the precincts of the 18 that we have actually voted early. So for the results tabulation, they changed that law back in or after 2020 so that we can see and know how each of the precincts voted and what their turnout was.
Okay. So the people are going in, they're showing their ID, correct? You need to bring an ID to vote?
Correct. So the voters do have to show their identification. And if they don't have an ID, they have to sign an affidavit under felony penalty of law saying that they are who they say that they are. And then we are required by law to issue a ballot at that time. So we have that. Once that process is checked off, then we print the ballot. And why I keep saying printing the ballot is we have a new service here in James City County, and it's called Ballot on Demand. And so when we go to check in the voter, the complete process is once we hit enter, the ballot is printed for that specific voter. And it helps a couple of things. It helps having making sure that the voter gets the correct ballot because we do have the 18 different ballot styles. And it also helps ensure that we don't have ballot stock just laying around that we have to count every night. So it helps with opening and closing logistics and reconciliation.
So I just have to ask, what's been the highest number of early voters you've had so far for a single day?
Our highest number was 1,499, and that was on the first day of early voting.
Wow.
And it has hovered right around 1,100 every day since then. I'm projecting a lull within this week and next week, and then we will skyrocket to have between 1,100 and 2,000 a day.
That's a lot of voters.
It is.
So tell me, are you able to then say at the end of each day how many people have voted for each candidate?
No, we do not know any of the results. Those are completely private and hidden until November 5th after 7 p.m. And I honestly don't want to know.
Right.
That's a surprise to me as much to anyone else until I start entering the results on election night that we get from the precincts and from the early vote center. So it'll be a surprise to all of us.
For sure. Okay, so the early vote center is the place to go if you want to vote early. You also, though, have the option. There are folks that have requested absentee ballots that they can vote by mail or vote in person. I think, how does all of that work with early voting?
Sure. We have a lot of people that aren't able to make it to the polls because they are homebound, because they have a physical disability that doesn't easily allow them to get to our office. And for those voters, and also our military overseas, we have a lot of voters that reside outside of the United States that are voting as well. And so for all of those voters, we do offer vote by mail. And that is a process that we have simultaneously to the early voting, and that is handled by my office. And they have until October 25th to request a ballot. And then we will get the ballot out. It's our standard policy is to get the ballot in the application in one day, get the ballot out the next day. If we have military, federal, overseas, we have 24 hours to turn that application into a ballot and get it turned out. So we are on top of things and working to get every vote taken care of.
Well, and I think voting by mail is also helpful for folks that have college students, right? That their college students may be out of the area for school.
Very much so. The college students, we have a really high population of college students, and they request their ballots. A lot of times the parents help them, but we get it taken care of, and we've already mailed out 5,700 ballots.
Wow.
And that number just continues to increase until we get to the deadline. So it'll be interesting to see how many ballots we have. But we're mailing out between 50 and 100 a day.
Wow, a lot of ballots. So what if I requested an absentee ballot by mail and I was planning on sending it into the mail, but then I got all excited and my neighbor was going to vote in person and I said, I want to go vote in person too. That sounds like fun. What do I do?
So if you have your ballot with you, we encourage you to bring it.
Okay.
You have one of two options. We have a ballot drop box, and you can just drop your voted ballot that you paid taxpayer money for to get it out to you. By the way, every ballot that we mailed of the 5,700 that we've already issued, it costs between $15 and $20 a ballot to get those out to each voter. So you do have the right to bring your ballot back into us and exchange it for an in-person one. And we would simply hand you a fresh ballot. We would mark that ballot as exchanged and print you a new one, just like you would for coming in as a regular thing. We would encourage you to make a decision one way or the other if you want to vote by mail or vote in person and stick with it. There are one-offs here and there. We understand that, but it gets to be really costly for the citizens of the county to continually pay that $15 to $20 per ballot when the person is just going to bring their ballot in every single time and change it to an in-person ballot.
Well, and just
for everyone.
Okay, and just for clarification, you don't have to actually pay that money when you go in to vote. That is just through the general fund taxpayer money,
That
correct?
is correct. Taxpayer dollars, mine and yours.
Okay, very good. So we've talked about mailing in ballots. We've talked about early voting. Here's a question people may have with the early voting. You see the stickers that say, I voted. Do you get those if you vote early?
You do, and you actually get one if you, for a mail ballot as well.
Oh, nice.
Yes, we want to make sure that everybody has their sticker, and it's really nice. The ones that we mail are actually custom ones that were designed by our also graphic designer, and it has the 3 ships on it. And the other ones are more custom as well, and it has 2024 presidential election on there. So it's a really cool sticker this go around.
Well, very good. Because some of us, I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but some of us, keep our stickers. I love stickers. So that's great. Yeah. So sorry, I got distracted. That was a squirrel situation. So we have talked about stickers, which are very important. So there's the actual election day. What if there are folks that it's just tradition? That's what they've always done. They go to the polls, they bring their children, they bring their neighbors. Is that still an option? And of course it is. Tell us a little bit about that.
By all means. It's interesting. It's actually kind of become the third option is election day, because we do early voting for 45 days before the election. But on election day, by all means, the only difference is that you don't go to our vote center. You must, by law, go to your assigned polling place.
Okay.
So you can look it up online to the elections.virginia.gov website and go into the citizen portal. You can find where your polling place is, the name of your polling place, the address, and it even gives you a handy feature for mapping it so that you can find where it is, especially if you're new to the area.
Okay.
So on election day, we are open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. and we do not close for lunch. So it goes all the way through. The other thing that I would like to point out is for all of our election officers, please make sure that you thank the election officers. The average age for an election officer is in the 70s. And for a 15-hour to 18-hour day, that becomes a very long day. So we always encourage everyone, if you think it's a great time and you see that everyone's having fun, please volunteer and become an election officer yourself. We're always looking for new ones.
Well, and that's a really good point. Is it too late for people to sign up to become an election officer for this election?
We have 1 or 2 more days
Okay.
to get additional people signed up, and then our classes will be completed.
Okay. So, but that's something good to keep in mind if there's a primary election next summer or something like that, right?
Absolutely. Virginia is actually one of the only states that has an election every single year.
Okay.
And now with the new law, we will more than likely have a primary every June, and we will have the general election every November.
So
next year is going to
plenty,
be a huge one for the gubernatorial.
right? And so plenty of opportunities to be officer of the elections.
Very much so.
Very good. So, what else? I know at the end we're going to have a screen that's going to have some of these dates as well as addresses, where to go for more information and everything like that. Is there anything else that you think? Oh, here's one. What about registration? What if somebody's just recently moved to the area and they have not transferred their, or not transferred, but they haven't gone in to register to vote in Virginia? What happens then?
So October 15th is the deadline to register, change your registration, to update your information, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then it becomes a kind of a last ditch effort to get you registered is a provisional ballot. And after October 15th, you would do a same day registration. So you complete the form that's actually part of the envelope. You vote your ballot, and then it would be decided by the electoral board at the canvass after the election as to whether your ballot is counted and whether you are registered. So that is, again, that's a last option. We beg voters to not wait that long. Don't procrastinate. Go online to the website now, get your information updated so that we can make sure that it's a smooth process. Because if not, you do have to go to the chief's table, and it does take a considerable amount more time than the standard just check-in quick process that we have standardized now.
Sure, absolutely. So early voting is available from 8 until 5, Monday through Friday. And then there are a couple of Saturdays, right, where you all are open?
Correct. We are open on Saturday, October 26th and November 2nd.
Okay.
November 2nd at 5 p.m. is the last time that you can vote early. And we do have a lot of people that try to show up and in panic mode the day before the election and try to vote on Monday. There is no early voting on Monday. The last day is 5 p.m. on Saturday, November 2nd. So the other thing is that if somebody is voted by mail and they don't want to put their ballot into the post office box, that's perfectly fine and understandable. Because it is a presidential and we have so many ballots that we've mailed out, we are opening 2 additional ballot drop boxes that are going to be available the 2 weeks for weekdays prior from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And that'll be in Building F at the Government Complex, 101 Mounts Bay Road, and then also at the library in Kroger. So both of those will be open the 10 business days prior to the election, 8 to 5.
Okay. So plenty of opportunities to vote. Lots of opportunities to vote early. And then always there is election day. You all do so much work to get everybody ready for this election. And we just really appreciate everything that you all have done.
I appreciate it. Just a couple more things.
Yes.
One is there's a lot of questions, and I always get asked this every time I go to a speech. So I wanted to put it out there that absentee ballots by mail do get counted regardless of how close the election is. We have an entire separate team that counts those ballots, and they do a phenomenal job, and they really do take it to heart and try to make sure that every vote is counted properly, or they are counted properly, but every vote is counted. The other thing is that at no time are our voting machines connected to the internet. The only thing that they are connected to is the wall and the surge protector. So there is no internet interference or anything else. It is a very secure system, And we have a team of machine technicians that are standing by on election day to ensure that our machines are working properly. We have spares if we need them. We have a whole lot of planning contingencies should they arise, but the machines are not connected to the internet at any point.
Important points to make. Thank you so much for adding those in there. Anything else that we need to know as voters?
No, we don't close for lunch, so feel free to bring cookies. Um, no, I'm just really proud of the team that we have, and everything that I'm reading online and everything else, next door neighbor. Everybody's had a really good experience at the vote center. So come on out, your voice is heard and your vote is counted, regardless of whether you come in and vote early or if you vote on election day. The ballots are counted the exact same way.
All right. Well, Dianna, once again, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to join us on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I love it.
Yep, great. Me too. Me too. Well, that wraps up this episode of This Week in James City County. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, please be sure to subscribe. That way you will never miss an episode. And you can go to our website. We're at jamescitycountyva.gov/podcast. And while there, you can give us, you'll find all of our episodes, but you can also fill out a form, give us show ideas, comments, critiques. We would love to hear from you. So once again, thank you so much, and we will talk with you all next time.